So the first question is discuss whether asset allocation has changed with respect to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So the United Nations developed and set up sustainable development goals to build a better and sustainable future for the people and the planet. The UN SDGs are a collection of 17 goals and they seek to attain 169 different outcomes. So the main dimensions of these goals and objectives are the social, economic, and government factors. The SDGs are set up in the year 2015 and are set to be achieved by the year 2030. So majority of the investors only look at the quantitative aspects of companies and fail to account for the non-financial aspects of companies as they work towards the SDGs, etc. So investors have to consider several factors before investing, such as the SDGs provide a structure for global sustainability, as SDGs address the global sustainability issues and benefits. However, SDG at the same time can pose macro financial risk, as investors use modern portfolio theory to build a very diverse and long-term oriented portfolio which depicts the global market. As a result, the return on investment for these portfolios is dependent on the performance of the global economy. SDGs, however, can provide benefits for the investors, as fulfilling the needs of the SDGs will lead to more financial global growth. As a result, global growth of the economy will lead to increased revenues and income for the businesses. As a result, the return on investment will increase. There are risks associated, as several of the costs may be pushed onto the companies for environmental damage or social disruption. As a result, this may be a risk faced by investors. Investors can also gain as businesses are moving towards sustainability. Changing the business practices and methods provide the investors with a more attractive investment opportunity, and at the same time investment can be done through several different instruments. Second question, you have to use 4 stocks and explain the portfolio management process and determine whether to invest in sustainable or unsustainable companies. So portfolio management process is managing a client's portfolio to achieve their specific needs. This is mainly based on the risk and return relationship and diversification, as the client may face unsystematic and systematic risk. Investors now have a wide number of stocks to choose from. As a result, they can allocate their funds to corporations which fulfill the sustainable development goals, which will be better for the future. The UN released the SDG commitment report, which showed that only 82% of the blue chip stocks considered the SDGs into their annual reports. So according to the report, the 4 companies I've chosen are Apple and Disney as unsustainable companies, and Novartis and JSK as sustainable companies. However, after considering their data for the years 2017 to 2019 into Excel, I found that the risk of Apple was the lowest, whereas the risk of Disney was the highest. Even though both of them were unsustainable companies, they did not have similar risk, whereas the sustainable companies had a similar risk. This shows that sustainability doesn't always reflect on the stock's pricing and the returns. As a result, the investors should consider the financial aspects of the companies. SDG consideration should be there, but not if they want to achieve the highest return for the lowest stocks. Investors can be sustainable by investing in different instruments such as REIT, which owes a large amount of building capital. They can influence the management towards using more sustainable business practices, using more efficient sources of energy, building more eco-friendly buildings. This will shape the real estate industry. Investors can also invest in sukuks. Sukuks are instruments which comply with the Sharia law. There are green sukuks which try to fulfill the green projects of the government and fulfill government building related debts and to facilitate building green projects such as solar panels, etc. However, sukuks are not internationally known or available. Social impact bonds can also be invested in, but however these are super risky, as the return and the principal can only be achieved when the social impact that it seeks to eradicate is achieved. Otherwise, they are not received. As a result, social impact bonds should be only purchased by investors who want to make a change and not just financial return. The investors can use non-based screening, where they look at a potential investment opportunity and they consider the societal and environmental impact of the company before investing in it. They use several guiding principles, such as the UN's guiding principles, the principles by OECD and ILO. Investors are allowed to judge whether the business is doing right or wrong, and this motivates the business to perform the right thing. Investors can also invest in carbon offset, where the amount of carbon they have contributed to the world, they provide funds to eradicate that amount of carbon from the world. It has, however, recently just switched from planting trees to building more energy sources, which will offer more social benefits. So modern portfolio theory is mainly based on the theory that investors need to maximize their returns for a given level of risk. So the main factor considered is the risk and return relationship. As higher will be the risk, higher will be the return. The development of technology has led to the creation of a digital or virtual currency known as cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is not bound by the government, it's very volatile and has very low correlation to stock. As a result, adding cryptocurrency to a traditional portfolio would lead to increased returns or lower risk, as we have conducted several research and specified it in the answer. However, as they have high volatility rate, it is not always ideal to use like a large amount of virtual currency, but adding a little bit of it led to a more optimal portfolio for the investors. Bitcoin is one of the most recognized virtual currencies, and it has been fluctuating up and down. It started at 10, reached $20,000, and now is down to $7,000. As you can see, it's very volatile, and it's not always optimal to add a lot of it, but however, adding some of it will lead to more diversification and less risk, as they have a very low correlation to the stocks, bonds, and other investment tools. So yes, cryptocurrencies should be considered for portfolio management.